reflection and the refraction of the light. First, we are going to know what I mean by the light reflection. The light reflection, of course, if you remember from primer 5, it's a returning back of the light rays when it falls on a smooth surface. So, this is a light rays when it falls on the regular surface or a smooth surface like the mirror in this picture. The boy can see his image due to the regular reflection. So what is the mean by the light reflection? It's the returning back of the light waves in the same medium on meeting a reflecting surface. Let's continue. The regular reflection, we have two conditions to consider it's a regular reflection. It must be falls the light rays on a smooth surface and it must be reflected in one direction only. So again, the light, the regular reflection, it must be occurred on falls the light waves on the smooth surface like the mirror, and also it must be reflected, all the light rays reflected in the one direction. The second type is the irregular reflection. Like the light rays falls on a piece of paper like this one. This piece of paper, of course, it's not the smooth like you imagine. It's on a rough surface because it contains a very tiny holes inside the paper tissue. And this paper tissue, as it contains many tiny pores, it's considered an irregular reflection because when the light rays falls on the paper, it will be reflected in different directions. It will be reflected in different directions. So to compare between regular reflection and irregular reflection, regular on a smooth surface, irregular on rough surface. Regular reflection, it will be reflected in one direction. Irregular reflection, it will be reflected in different direction. Like what? Like the reflection of the piece of paper as it contains tiny holes, the reflection of from the tree, and also the reflection from the wool or the leather. Let's continue. The rules or the law of the light reflection. To study it very well, we make an experiment like this one, where we are going to have the laser beam, and we have here a standard smooth surface, and also we are going to the reflection of the light beams. We are going to have the compass to consider or to have the rules of the light reflection. First, we are going to make the experiment by this diagrammatic sketch, and here we have, this is called the incident light ray. Again, repeat after me, the incident light ray. The incident light ray is the light ray or the light wave which falls on the smooth surface. And then the second line is considered the reflected light ray, And this angle, like the in geometry, is considered the angle of incidence. Again, repeat after me, angle of incidence, which lies between the incident light ray and the normal line. And the second angle is the angle of the reflection, which lies between the reflecting light ray and the normal line. Let's see the reflection of the incident light ray. What is the incident light ray? It is the narrow straight light beam which intersects with the reflecting surface, or which falls on the reflecting surface at the point of the incidence. This point is called the point of the incidence, where the incident light ray falls on the reflecting surface. And what is the reflected light ray? It is the narrow light ray which reflected from the reflecting surface. And so we call it the reflected light ray. The angle of the incidence, as we defined it before, we said it is the angle which lies between the incident light ray and the normal line. And what is the angle of the reflection? It is the angle which lies between the reflected light ray and the normal line. Let's continue our activity. Here we are going to conclude the rules of the light reflection. Number one, from this activity, when we have the normal line in the middle of the reflecting surface and measures the two angles, the angle of the incidence and the angle of the reflection, we found they are equal. So the rule number one, the angle of the incidence equals the angle of the reflection. Again, the law number one, the angle of the incidence must equal the angle of the reflection. So be careful when you draw these angles, you must draw the incident light ray which will be reflected by the same angle of the reflected ray. The second law, we said the incident light ray and the reflected ray and the normal line at the point of incidence, all of them lies perpendicular to the reflecting surface. Again, the rule number two, the incident light ray and the reflected ray and the normal perpendicular on the reflecting surface. When I'm going to ask you, what happens if the incident light ray like this one falls perpendicular to the reflecting surface? Of course, it will be reflected on itself. It will be reflected on itself. And so we said this is because the angle of the incidence and the angle of the reflection equal 0. There is no angles here in this diagram. Again, what happens if the incident light ray falls perpendicular to the reflecting surface? Will be reflected to itself. Why? Because the angle of the incidence and the angle of the reflection will equal 0. Let's continue the technological application of the light reflection. The technological application we start with the periscope. The periscope is a very useful one as it will be used in the submarines to see what's going under the water. This is a submarine and here we have the periscope. The periscope is a long tube like this one and we have two mirrors at the two angles of the periscope. The angle here is going to reflect the light of any that emerges from any body, and when the light falls on the mirror it will be reflected to the second mirror and the second mirror will be reflected to our eyes. So this periscope it will be used in the submarines to determine what's happening behind the wall or to determine what's happening under the sea. Also, it can be occurred in the laboratory to determine any dangerous chemical reaction. So the first technological application of the light reflection is the periscope. What's the function of the periscope? It's used in the submarines to go to see what's happening under the water or to see what's happening behind the wall or the barrier in the wars. Also, it can be used in making the dangerous chemical reactions in the laboratory. Number 2, we have the optical fibers. The optical fibers, it can be used in the medicines or the manufacturing of endoscopes. The medical endoscopes, it can be used in making some diseases, like what? While these optical fibers, it can be used for making the medical surgeries. As we talking about before, it can be used for breaking some stones. This breaking some stones, it takes place by making these optical fibers. Also, it can be used to visualize the injuries inside the body. To visualize the injuries inside the body. The doctor will be enters this optical fiber inside your body to see what's going or what's the danger inside your body. Also, it assists in doing the high-risk operation by using the laser instead of the traditional one. Now we are going to stop in this part. We finished the light reflection and the rules of the light reflection and the technological application. See you soon. Study it very well.